the music of Edward Elgar and work called the Wand of Youth, Suite Number 1. It's Opus 1A. It's a very early work of Elgar's, written in the 1870s when he was a kid, although he did re-orchestrate it later on. They're sort of the melodies he'd collected when he was young as an adolescent, and then formed it into the music for a play, which I don't think was ever realised, but I think it exists as a suite. But that's a Decca Ace of Clubs record, actually very good fi, and the London Philharmonic Orchestra recorded back in the 50s. Anyhow, I'm vk3sl, and we're testing on 160 metres and 40 metres, and also going out on UHF. We've changed our frequency on UHF. We're now on 433 straight. And we also have a presence on YouTube as a online stream. So you can look up my call sign, vk3sl, on YouTube, and you'll find there's logs of previous programs and a live presentation. Well, I'm usually co-host with Frank, Mr. JR. He's a busy man this evening. He's got social events and he won't be around tonight, and neither will I. I've decided I'm going to have an early night and sort of rest up a little bit and try to catch up with things a little. So we won't have any missions tonight, but should be okay tomorrow. Should be. I'm actually going out tomorrow afternoon, but if I'm back in time, I will be all guns for tomorrow afternoon and probably Sunday. So there's the schedule for the next couple of days. So what we'll do is just play a few records now. Won't do too much at this point, and just keep the airwaves warm, as they say. And we've got here an Edison Bell radio disc, an 8-inch 78, made in the late 1920s, of Harry Hudson's Melody Men. These records were produced as sort of dime store, second tier, cheap records. They were small and they sort of fitted into gramophone cases quite readily, and they sounded okay. There's a little bit of integrated distortion, but some are British, mostly British, I have to say. But yeah, an Edison Bell record, and I think I haven't checked. Whoops, needle drop. I think this is Me and My Shadow.
Gone to rest in the golden west, loving time is best, for love dreams are the sweetest, when moonbeams flood the sky, love will find its own, when we are alone, in the shadows just you and I.
Okay, historical 78s, and that was the Harry Hudson's Melody Men, recorded in England back in the late 1920s on an Edison Bell record, very blasty. I think this is a flood rescue. Yes, this record did get was submerged for a while in a flood in my folks' garage. Yeah, but it has seen better days. But look, the other side. I should play the other side. This is a good record. This is side B. Well, I don't know how you classify these things, but it has got a slightly later matrix number, and it's a recording of Misery Farm. This has got an interesting story, this song, and I will reveal more later. Hopefully it's not as blasty as the side we just heard, but let's hear more of Harry Hudson's Melody Men and Misery Farm. And yes, check out the lyrics. Okay, there we go. Misery Farm, and that was Harry Hudson's Melody Men, and it's a take on a song called Jollity Farm. Now, I've been able to dial that up, so we can hear its original concept there, and it was sort of a parody of it, really, but I think this version actually got more mileage than the other one. It was a vaudeville song from the early days, but there is one recording of Misery Farm that stands out more than any, and I have played it many times on the program, and I'm just itching to play it again. And this is another excuse to play this recording of Al Bowley with Fred Elizalde and his music, recorded in 1929, but it is hot. It's hotter than hot. It's the hottest English dance band record probably of its decade. It's sort of based, you picked up the vibe from Mr. Elizalde arranged this, and he picked up the vibe from Fletcher Henderson, and he arranged a trumpet chorus. I think actually Adrian Rollini, who was sort of moonlighting with the band at the time, he arranged it from his notion of what was happening in the in America at the time, so he sort of there was a bit of cross pollination. But it's all pretty tame. After the vocals, it just takes off, and it's completely extraordinary. There's nothing like it. Elizalde sort of was eventually dished out because people in English just couldn't understand his notion of hot music, and he eventually went back to the Philippines and conducted the Manila Symphony Orchestra. But as a young card, he was really one of the most important figures in English dance band music and early jazz, but this record is one of the best.
We've got a barn of a farm, right in the middle of a swamp. There ain't any charm in our little farm, right in the middle of the swamp. Nothing's grown since the day we came, misery farm in our farm day. We're miserable souls, miserable down on Misery Farm. So are the animals, so are the vegetables down on Misery Farm. The hens won't play, we can't make hay. We work all day and we get no pay. We're miserable souls, miserable down on Misery Farm.
Well, how about that? Remarkable. Hearing the high level of orchestration and syncopated section solo there. 3 trumpets in close harmony. In fact, there is a recording out there in the ether, and I do remember playing it on an early emissions where the 3 musicians playing on that disc came together again and recreated the same thing in the 1950s and played that same solo. At least 2 of them. I don't think all 3 actually. Yeah, but it was recreated, and it's totally groundbreaking. There's nothing like it. It was really, for the Brits to do something like that was quite out of this world. Very much in the style of the black bands in America, who were really doing all sorts of wonderful section solo type work, the likes of Don Redman and McKinney's Crowd and such. Anyhow, there we have the Misery Farm, originally a Leslie Saroni song, and it was called Jollity Farm. And we can dial up one of the... Well, I won't play the Leslie Saroni version, but I'll play you a particularly upbeat take on the subject from Jack Hilton and his band, Jollity Farm, recorded in November 1929. I'm vk3sl.
But of that I'll have none, because I know of one, it's always full of fun. They call this one Jollity, believe me folks it's great, for everything sings out to me as I go through the gate. All the little pigs they grunt and howl, the cats meow, the dogs bow wow, everybody makes some row down on Jollity Farm. All the little birds go tweet, 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 the lambs all bleat, shake their feet, everything's a perfect treat down on Jollity Farm. Regular in habit, the cock begins to crow, and the old buck rabbit says I'm a doddy-o-do. All the little ducks go quack, 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 the cows all move, the bull does too, everyone says how do you do down on Jollity Farm. About he'll rush, but he only grumbles when they try bobbing his brush.
Jack Hilton and the band, and Jollity Farm. I saw something quite interesting about Jack Hilton recently. I don't know if it's really playable on air, because the quals are not good. It's a film about building cabinet gramophones back in 1931. And they describe the process of building these cabinets. The magic box, oh look, I'll play it. It goes for 6 minutes, but it's got some dead air. But it actually features the Hilton Band recording, and it cuts between the recording studio and you get the booth. Actually, it's quite interesting. You get the sort of setting and an idea of how they mic'd up these bands back in the day, and that's combined with the images and descriptions of building radiograms, the very first generation of radiograms in 1931. It's a Pathé Tone Weekly feature. I'll play it, but be aware that there will be a few sort of pregnant pauses. And it's very British and very boring, but, you know, no, well, I'd say boring, but very British delivery, you know what I mean? And, but look, if nothing else, it might alert people to looking it up. It's on its YouTube site as British Pathé, and it's called The Magic Box, and it features Jack Hilton's name, H-H-Y-L-T-O-N. So the band you just heard, and you can see them in action around about the same time. It's interesting, and they look at balance and a few things. So here we go. Let's have a listen to The Magic Box. I'll just do a fade there because I've actually cut in partway through the episode. So you've got an idea of what we're working towards. Here we go. constricted optical sound.
This is the radio gramophone. All kinds of ingenious machines are used to ensure perfection. Cutting the grill or the front of the loudspeaker is a delicate operation. Plenty of elbow room is conducive to good work. Special jigs make the assembly of the cabinet a simple and accurate operation. Hundreds of cabinets slowly moving on to completion. All components of the radio set are distributed by conveyors. There are over 1,600 separate parts in the complete radio gramophone. We will just take a peep into the recording studio where Jack Hilton and his band are rehearsing.
Bad. I think we ought to have the violins up a little bit weak, you know. A bit nearer. A little more violins.
Meanwhile, the building of the sets continues. All the workers are specialists at their own particular jobs. Making the final connections. And now the set undergoes the first of many exhaustive tests. An unusual view of the overhead conveyor system, carrying the finished set to the waiting cabinet. Here it is placed in position, followed by the motor board with the tuning dial and gramophone pickup, and all connections are made good. This completes the magic box, which takes us back to Jack Hilton and his merry men recording for our benefit.
I get blue when I hear the wheeze of the choo-choo. Wow. I want you to go too with me on the choo-choo. Wow. The day's here, so get near, see what I have to say. Wow. Get your stuff and pack up, 'cause we're going away. Wow. The sun shines, my heart finds for those lasses and caves. Wow. You know that they taste good way down in the cane breaks. Forget care and let go of your troubles and blues. Wow. Let's be gay on our way, let's get on the choo-choo. Take your places for the third luncheon, please. Premier service. Prenez-vous place, monsieur, mesdames, s'il vous plaît. Mittagessen, bitte schön.
Yeah, you just heard an old Pathé newsreel and or feature with the Jack Hilton Orchestra, and it's called the Magic Box. So, sort of obliquely refers to the building of radiogram cabinets, the very first generation, early electric pickups. But fascinating to see Jack Hilton's band in situ. They're all playing and they're all being mic'd up, and they're very closely gathered around the 2 or 3 microphones. There's one mic on the percussion and the bass, and the rest of them are sort of all huddled around what looks like a condenser mic or an early generation. And the singers, of course, are all just equidistant, and the feature vocalist would move in. It's amazing, the black art or the dark art of balance with in the very early days of recording. Well, not very early, 6 years after electric recording came in, 1931. But yeah, quite an interesting feature. All right, we're testing on 160 and on 40 metres, and also going out on UHF and online as well. Well, sampling records as we do. I've got in my hand a Parlophone disc from about 1936, 37, and it's a recording of Billie Holiday and her orchestra. And it's rather sort of tragically titled song, Don't Know If I'm Coming or Going. It's a beautiful song, and I can't get enough of Lady Day.
You've got me on the go, running to and fro, looking high and low. I don't know if I'm coming or going, since I fell for you. I run about the town, chasing up and down, tagging you around. I don't know if I'm coming or going, since I fell for you. You're so busy keeping up with all your love affairs. I'm so dizzy. I've got trouble, I'm seeing double. Just when I think you're through chasing as you do, you'll find someone new. I don't know if I'm coming or going, since I fell for you. When I found you, I found heaven right before my door. Since I lost you, I've got trouble, I'm seeing double. Why did you let me fly way up to the sky just to say goodbye? I don't know if I'm coming or going, since I fell for you.
Billie Holiday and her orchestra on a Parlophone 78. Let's find out what's on the other side. I can't get enough of this music. I love it. She's just got the most beautiful, easygoing, naturalistic poise. It's so remarkable. And this, yes, You Can't Be Mine is the other side of this. Yep, we have to hear more. Lady Day in her zenith. I'm vk3sl, and we're testing, of course.
You can be mine and someone else's too. Someday you'll find I've been a friend to you. I don't believe that life's worth living. I gave you all that was worth giving. You never cared how I fared. Oh, what I do, I called you mine. But I was not to blame for all the time you played a two-handed game. Second-hand love I can't see. It's good for some, but not for me. You can't be mine, and someone else's too. I called you mine, but I was not to blame for all the time you played a two-handed game. Second-hand love I can't see. It's good for some, but not for me. You can't be mine, and someone else's too.
Billie Holiday and her orchestra. And this has prompted me to spontaneously sift through a pile of V-discs just behind me, sitting up ready to be explored. And there happens to be a few Billie Holiday V-discs here, so why not follow the lead and play some more. This one is, they're pretty worn. In fact, they're very worn. These records were made for the troops. They were supposed to be destroyed after the war. They're reasonably scarce, although you see them a lot in Australia because there are a lot of US troops in Australia. We'll just see how this plays. This record has definitely seen better days. It's an early form of vinyl. You can hear it wobble there. And it's Billie Holiday with her all-star jam band featuring this, what a lineup, my God. Louis Armstrong, Ray Eldridge, Coleman Hawkins, Barney Begar, Jack Teagarden, Art Tatum, and others. Vocal blues. Oh, wow. This is amazing. All right, we'll give it a go. Fingers crossed, folks. You might have to put up with a bit of noise, but we'll do what we can to make it sound acceptable.
I love my man. I'm alive, I say I don't. I love my man. I'm alive, I say I don't. But I'll quit my man. I'm alive, I say I won't. I've been your slave, baby, ever since I've been your babe. I've been your slave ever since I've been your babe. But before I your grave. My man wouldn't give me no breakfast, wouldn't give me no dinner. Squawked about my supper, then he put me outdoors. Has the nerve to lay a matchbox on my clothes. I didn't have so many, but I had a long, long ways to go. I ain't good looking, and my hair ain't curled. I ain't good looking, and my hair ain't curled. But my mother, she give me something. It's gonna carry me through this world. Some men like me 'cause I'm happy. Some 'cause I'm snappy. Some call me honey, others think I've got money. Some say, Billy, baby, you're built for speed. Now, if you put that all together, makes me everything a good man needs.
Entertaining the troops, we heard Billie Holiday and an all-star cast on the original V-Disc. I notice online there is a channel on YT called V-Disc Daddy. Someone's got the originals. I don't know what the processing's like. The problem with a lot of online archives like this is that they're over-processed and they sound terrible. But I'm just going to jump in. My copies are too worn. I've got a few of them here, but I really should test them before playing. Probably should test these before playing too, but look, let's give it a go. This is a V-Disc from 1946 featuring Billie Holiday, and this says Billie Holiday, and I Cover the Waterfront and The Same Old Story. 2 V-Discs in succession. Sorry folks, bit muffly.
Away from the city that hurts and mobs, I'm standing alone by the desolate dock, in the still and the chill of the night. I see the horizon, the great unknown. My heart has an ache, it's as heavy as stone. Will the dawn coming on make it light? I cover the waterfront, I'm watching the sea. Will the one I love be coming back to me? I cover the waterfront in search of my love, and I'm covered by a starless sky above. Here am I patiently waiting, hoping and longing. Oh, how I yearn. Where are you? Are you forgetting? Do you remember? Will you return? I cover the waterfront. I'm watching the sea for the one I love must soon come back to me. For the one I love must soon come back to me. The same old story. It's as old as the stars above. The same old story of a boy and a girl in love. The scene, same old moonlight. The time, same old June night. Romance, the theme. Two hearts away, deep in a dream. The same old story. It's been told much too much before. The same old story, but it's worth telling just once more. It's all fun and laughter. They live ever after in ecstasy. The same old story, but it's new to me.
Incomparable Billie Holiday there on a V-disc. It's a Muffle Missions recording, though, with no highs. It drives me nuts. There's got to be better versions of these out there. Even my trashed earlier V-disc, to my ears, sounded a bit more acceptable, but that's the way of things. We try things on the fly here. And I should just remind you that you're listening to a test transmission from vk3sl. Alrighty, well, we've got another recording on the table. This isn't a Rigonal, it's an old parlophone again. It's a jazz standard. It features Benny Goodman. and his orchestra. Let me find out the title again. Yes, we've got Jersey Bounce, and yeah, this will be good. It's from the Swing and Sway rack, so let's indulge. Goodman and the orchestra. I have to say that had echoes of Take the A Train on that record. I have to check the situation. Yes, we happen to have a copy of Take the A Train here. Next one on the pile. Maybe that's not a coincidence. I can't remember making that connection in the past, but there certainly sounds like they're similar. Well, we'll hear Duke Ellington and the band now, and the celebrated recording. Another Ellington great. Take the A Train. Don't Australian laminated pressing sound good? That was the Ellington Band back in the 30s and their classic record, Take the A Train. Well, folks, I'm going to sort of lie low for a little bit. We'll keep going for a bit longer. Got things to do. I've got to go out shortly. But just a word about tomorrow. I'm planning to run a program tomorrow. I want to catch up with Frank and hear about his big music night. But I just need to remind folks that we are not doing our late night program tonight. I'll be taking a break. I'm having an early night. I need to just sort of, have a change of pace. And then, but tomorrow should be okay. I am going out tomorrow afternoon, but I should be back by 5. If not, just check in on, and I'll maybe 5:30, may even be 6. But I'm planning to start. Do something tomorrow and catch up with Frank. So there we have it, and Sunday as well. So, to conclude today, I thought I'd play an album. This is another Decca. Is it an Ace of Spades? No, it's not. It's Ace of Clubs? No, it's a full frequency range recording, and it is an evening wasted with Tom Lehrer. Tom Lehrer just passed away very recently, so just thought we'd celebrate his craft and his amazing contribution to satire and musical mischief. He was just such a great force of nature. So I don't think this needs any introduction at all. We'll just hear maybe side 1, maybe side 2, see what's happening. But we'll hear now An Evening with Tom Lehrer. I'm vk3sl. Thank you for listening, and we will catch up with you sooner than later.
I'd like to take you now on wings of song, as it were, and try and help you forget, perhaps for a while, your drab, wretched lives. Here's a song all about springtime in general, and in particular about one of the many delightful pastimes that the coming of spring affords us all. Spring is here, a spring is here. Life is Skittles and life is beer. I think the loveliest time of the year is the spring. I do, don't you? Of course you do. But there's one thing that makes spring complete for me, and makes every Sunday a treat for me. All the world seems in tune on a spring afternoon when we're poisoning pigeons in the park. Every Sunday you'll see my sweetheart and me as we poison the pigeons in the park. When they see us coming, the birdies all try and hide, but they still go for peanuts when coated with cyanide. The sun's shining bright, everything seems all right when we're poisoning pigeons in the park. La la, la 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 la, we've gained notoriety and caused much anxiety in the Audubon Society with our games. They call it impiety and lack of propriety and quite a variety of unpleasant names. But it's not against any religion to want to dispose of a pigeon. So if someday you're free, why don't you come with me and we'll poison the pigeons in the park. And maybe we'll do in a squirrel or two while we're poisoning pigeons in the park. We'll murder them all amid laughter and merriment. except for the few we take home to experiment. My pulse will be quickening with each drop of strychnine we feed to a pigeon. It just takes a smidgen to poison a pigeon in the park. Thank you. For my first encore, I'd like to turn to a type of song that people like myself find ourselves subjected to with increasing frequency as time goes on, and that is the college alma mater. You find yourself at a reunion of old grads and old undergrads, and somebody will start croaking out one of these things, and everyone will gradually join in, each in his own key, of course, until the place is just soggy with nostalgia. Well, a typical such song might be called Bright College Days, and might go like this. Bright college days, oh carefree days that fly, to thee we sing with our glasses raised on high. Let's drink a toast as each of us recalls ivy-covered professors in ivy-covered halls. Turn on the spigot, pour the beer and swig it, and gaudiamus igitt a tour. Here's to parties we tossed, to the games that we lost. We shall claim that we won them someday. To the girls young and sweet, to the spacious back seat of our roommate's beat-up Chevrolet. To the beer and Benzedrine, to the way that the dean tried so hard to be pals with us all. To excuses we fibbed, to the papers we cribbed from the genius who lived down the hall. To the tables down at Maury's, wherever that may be. Let us drink a toast to all we love the best. We will sleep through all the lectures and cheat on the exams, and we'll pass and be forgotten with the rest. Soon we'll be out amid the cold world's strife. Soon we'll be sliding down the razor blade of life. Ready? But as we go our sordid separate ways, we shall ne'er forget thee, thou golden college days. Hearts full of youth, hearts full of truth, 6 parts gin to 1 part vermouth. One very familiar type of song is the Christmas carol, although it is perhaps a bit out of season at this time. However, I am informed by my disc jockey friends, of whom I have none, that in order to get a song popular by Christmas time, you have to start plugging it well in advance, so here goes. It's always seemed to me, after all, that Christmas, with its spirit of giving, offers us all a wonderful opportunity each year to reflect on what we all most sincerely and deeply believe in. I refer, of course, to money. And yet none of the Christmas carols that you hear on the radio or in the street even attempts to capture the true spirit of Christmas as we celebrate it in the United States. That is to say, the commercial spirit. So I should like to offer the following Christmas carol for next year as being perhaps a bit more appropriate. Christmas time is here, by golly, disapproval would be folly. Deck the halls with hunks of holly, fill a cup and don't say when. Kill the turkeys, ducks, and chickens, mix the punch, drag out the dickens. Even though the prospect sickens, brother, here we go again. On Christmas Day you can't get sore, your fellow man you must adore. There's time to rob him all the more, the other 360 of war. Relations sparing no expense'll send some useless old utensil, or a matching pen and pencil, just the thing I need. How nice. It doesn't matter how sincere it is, nor how heartfelt the spirit. Sentiment will not endear it. What's important is the price. Hark, the Herald Tribune sings, advertising wondrous things. God rest ye merry merchants, may ye make the Yuletide pay. Angels we have heard on high tell us to go out and buy. So let the raucous sleigh bells jingle, hail our dear old friend Kris Kringle, driving his reindeer across the sky. Don't stand underneath when they fly by. Actually, I did rather well myself this past Christmas. The nicest present I received was a gift certificate, good at any hospital, for a lobotomy. Rather thoughtful. Now, if I may digress momentarily from the mainstream of this evening's symposium, I'd like to sing a song which is completely pointless, but is something which I picked up during my career as a scientist. This may prove useful to some of you someday, perhaps in a somewhat bizarre set of circumstances. It's simply the names of the chemical elements set to a possibly recognizable tune. Arsenic, aluminum, selenium, and hydrogen, and oxygen, and nitrogen, and rhenium, and nickel, neodymium, neptunium, germanium, and iron, americium, ruthenium, uranium, europium, zirconium, lutetium, vanadium, and lanthanum, and osmium, and astatine, and radium, and golden protactinium, and indium, and gallium, and iodine, and thorium, and thulium, and thallium. There's yttrium, ytterbium, actinium, rubidium, boron, gadolinium, niobium, iridium, and strontium, and silicon, and silver, and samarium, and bismuth, bromine, lithium, beryllium, and barium. Isn't that interesting? I knew you would. I hope you're all taking notes, because there's going to be a short quiz next period. There's holmium and helium and hafnium and erbium and phosphorus and francium and fluorine and terbium and manganese and mercury, molybdenum and magnesium, dysprosium and scandium and cerium and cesium and lead, praseodymium and platinum, plutonium, palladium, promethium, potassium, polonium, and tantalum, technetium, titanium, tellurium, and cadmium and calcium and chromium and curium. There's sulfur, californium, and fermium, berkelium, and also mendelevium, einsteinium, nobelium, and argon, krypton, neon, radon, xenon, zinc, and rhodium, and chlorine, carbon, cobalt, copper, tungsten, tin, and sodium. These are the only ones of which the news has come to Harvard. And there may be many others, but they haven't been discovered. And now, may I have the next slide, please? Carried away there. It seems that most of the songs that you hear these days on the radio, played by the disc jockeys, apart from rock and roll and other children's records, tend to be motion picture title songs. Apparently producers feel that we will not attend their movies unless we have the titles well drilled into our heads in advance. Of course, we don't go anyway, but at least this way they make back on the song some of what they've lost on the picture. But with the rise of the motion picture title song, we have such hits of the past few years as The Ten Commandments, Mambo, Brothers Karamazov, Cha-Cha, Incredible Shrinking Man, I Love You, I'm sure you're all familiar with these, but a few years ago, a motion picture version appeared of Sophocles' immortal tragedy, Oedipus Rex. This picture played only in the so-called art theaters, and it was not a financial success. And I maintain that the reason it was not a financial success you're way ahead of me, was that it did not have a title tune which the people could hum and which would make them actually eager to attend to this particular flick. So I've attempted to supply this, and here then is the prospective title song from Oedipus Rex. From the Bible to the popular song, there's one theme that we find right along. Of all ideals they hail as good, the most sublime is motherhood. There was a man, though, who it seems once carried this ideal to extremes. He loved his mother and she loved him, and yet his story is rather grim. There once lived a man named Oedipus Rex. You may have heard about his odd complex. His name appears in Freud's index 'cause he loved his mother. His rivals used to say quite a bit that as a monarch he was most unfit, but still in all they had to admit that he loved his mother. Yes, he loved his mother like no other. His daughter was his sister and his son was his brother. One thing on which you can depend is he sure knew who a boy's best friend is. When he found what he had done, he tore his eyes out one by one. A tragic end to a loyal son who loved his mother. So be sweet and kind to mother, now and then have a chat. Buy her candy or some flowers or a brand new hat. But maybe you had better let it go at that. Or you may find yourself with a quite complex, and you may end up like Oedipus. I'd rather marry a duck-billed platypus than end up like old Oedipus Rex. The outpatients are out in force tonight, I see. Good. Now, I'm sure you're all aware that this week is National Gallbladder Week. And so as sort of an educational feature at this point, I thought I would acquaint you with some of the results of my recent researches into the career of the late Dr. Samuel Gall, inventor of the gallbladder, which certainly ranks as one of the more important technological advances since the invention of the joy buzzer and the dribble glass. Dr. Gall's faith in his invention was so dramatically vindicated last year, as you no doubt recall, when, for the first time in history in a nationwide poll, the gallbladder was voted among the top 10 organs. His educational career began, interestingly enough, in agricultural school, where he majored in animal husbandry until they caught him at it one day. Whereupon he switched to the field of medicine, in which field he also won renown as the inventor of gargling, which prior to that time had been practiced only furtively by a remote tribe in the Andes who passed the secret down from father to son as part of their oral tradition. He soon became a specialist, specializing in diseases of the rich. was therefore able to retire at an early age. To the land we all dream about, sunny Mexico, of course, the last part of which is completely irrelevant, as was the whole thing, I guess, except it's a rather sneaky way of getting into this next type of popular song, which is one of those things about that magic and romantic land south of the border. When it's fiesta time in Guadalajara, then I long to be back once again in old Mexico, where we lived for today, never giving a thought to tomorrow. To the strumming of guitars in 100 grubby bars, I would whisper te amo. The mariachis would serenade, and they would not shut up till they were paid. We ate, we drank, and we were merry, and we got typhoid and dysentery. But best of all, we went to the Plaza de Toros. Now whenever I start feeling morose, I revive by recalling that scene. And names like Belmonte, Dominguina, and Manolete, if I live to 180, I shall never forget what they mean. Nothing more beautiful in this world than the sight of a lone man facing single-handedly a half a ton of angry pot roast. Out came the matador, who must have been potted or slightly insane, but who looked rather bored. Then the picadors, of course, each one on his horse. I shouted, "Ole!" every time one was gored. I cheered at the banderilleros' display as they stuck the bull in their own clever way, for I hadn't had so much fun since the day my brother's dog Rover got run over. Rover was killed by a Pontiac, and it was done with such grace and artistry that the witnesses awarded the driver both ears and the tail. But I digress. The moment had come, I swallowed my gum. We knew there'd be blood on the sand pretty soon. The crowd held its breath, hoping that death would brighten an otherwise dull afternoon. At last, the matador did what we wanted him to. He raised his sword and his aim was true. In that moment of truth, I suddenly knew that someone had stolen my wallet. Now it's fiesta time in Akron, Ohio, but it's back to old Guadalajara I'm longing to go. Far away from the strikes of the AFL and CIO. How I wish I could get back to the land of the wetback and forget the Alamo in old Mexico. Ole!
Well, folks, you're listening to an album called An Evening Wasted with Tom Lehrer. I will flip the disc because I'm keen to hear the rest of this. And these are recordings made between 1953 and 1959. Live performances featuring Tom Lehrer, who just passed away very recently. Last week, in fact. Let's continue. I'm vk3sl and we're testing.
I should like to consider the folk song and expound briefly on a theory I have held for some time, to the effect that the reason most folk songs are so atrocious is that they were written by the people. If professional songwriters had written them instead, things might have turned out considerably differently. For example, consider the old favorite, with which I'm sure you're all familiar, Clementine, you know. In a cavern, in a canyon, da-da-da-da-da-da. A song with no recognizable merit whatsoever. And imagine what might have happened if, for example, Cole Porter had tried writing this song. The first verse might have come out like this. In a cavern, in a canyon, excavating for a mine, far away from the boom, boom, boom of the city. She was so pretty, what a pity, Clementine. Oh, Clementine, can't you tell from the howls of me, this love of mine calls to you from the bowels of me. Are you discerning the returning of this churning, burning, yearning for you? Well, supposing at this point that Mozart, or one of that crowd, had tried writing a verse, the next one might have come out as a baritone aria from an Italian opera, somewhat along these lines. Era leggera e come un ferry, e sue shoes numero 9, herring boxes senza tops as sandale, per Clementina sì, per Clementina sì, per Clementina sandale, per Clementina sandale, per Clementina, 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 Clementina. Herring boxes senza tops e sandali per Clementina, herring boxes senza tops e sandali per Clementina, che sciagura Clementina, che sciagura Clementina, cara Clementina, na 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 na. Well, supposing at this rather dramatic juncture in the narrative, one of our modern cool school of composers had tried writing a verse, the next one might have come out like this. Drove those ducklings to the water, yep, rock. Every morning like 9 a.m. Got hung up on a splinter, got hung up on a splinter, klug 'em up. Fell into the foamy brine, dig that crazy Clementine, man. To end on a happy note, one can always count on Gilbert and Sullivan for a rousing finale, full of words and music and signifying nothing. That I missed her, depressed her young sister named Esther. This Mr. to pester she try. Now a pestering sister's a festering blister. You'd best resist her, say I. The Mr. resisted, the sister persisted. I kissed her, all loyalty slipped. When she said I could have her sister's cadaver must surely have turned in its crypt. Yes, 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 yes. But I love she and she loves me, and raptured are the both of we. Yes, I love she and she loves I, and will through all eternity. See what I mean? comparatively recently emerged from the United States Army, so that I am now, of course, in the radioactive reserve. And the usual jokes about the Army aside, one of the many fine things one has to admit is the way that the Army has carried the American democratic ideal to its logical conclusion, in the sense that not only do they prohibit discrimination on the grounds of race, creed, and color, but also on the grounds of ability. Be that as it may, some of you may recall the publicity a few years ago attendant upon the Army's search for an official Army song to be the counterpart of the Navy's Anchors Aweigh and the Air Force's Up in the Air, Junior Birdman, and so on. I was in basic training at the time, and I recall our platoon sergeant, who was an unfrocked Marine. Actually, the change of service had come as quite a blow to him, because it meant that he had to memorize a new serial number, which took up most of his time. At any rate, I recall this sergeant's informing me and my roommates of this rather deplorable fact that the Army didn't have no official song. And suggested that we work on this in our copious free time. Well, I submitted the following song, which is called "It Makes a Fellow Proud to Be a Soldier," which I think demonstrates the proper spirit, you'll agree. However, the fact that it did not win the contest, I can ascribe only to blatant favoritism on the part of the judges. The heart of every man in our platoon must swell with pride for the nation's youth, the cream of which is marching at his side, for the fascinating rules and regulations that we share, and the quaint and curious costumes that we're called upon to wear. Now Al joined up to do his part, defending you and me. He wants to fight and bleed and kill and die for liberty. With the hell of war he's come to grips, policing up the filter tips. It makes a fella proud to be a soldier. When Pete was only in the 7th grade, he stabbed a cop. He's real RA material, and he was glad to swap his switchblade and his old zip gun for a bayonet and a new M1. It makes a fella proud to be a soldier. After Johnny got through basic training, he was a soldier through and through when he was done. Its effects were so well rooted that the next day he saluted a good humor man, an usher, and a nun. Now Fred's an intellectual, brings a book to every meal. He likes the deep philosophers, like Norman Vincent Peale. He thinks the Army's just the thing because he finds it broadening. It makes a fella proud to be a soldier. Now Ed flunked out of 2nd grade and never finished school. He doesn't know a shelter half from an entrenching tool, but he's going to be a big success. He heads his class at OCS. It makes a fella proud to be a soldier. Our old mess sergeant's taste buds had been shot off in the war, but his savory collations add to our esprit de corps. To think of all the marvelous ways they're using plastics nowadays, it makes a fella proud to be a soldier. Our lieutenant is the up-and-coming type. Played with soldiers as a boy, you just can't bet. It is written in the stars, he will get his captain's bars, but he hasn't got enough box tops yet. Our captain has a handicap to cope with, sad to tell. He's from Georgia, and he doesn't speak the language very well. He used to be, so rumor has, the dean of men at Alcatraz. It makes a fella proud to be what as a kid I vowed to be. What luck to be allowed to be a soldier at ease. now to the love song. I'm sure you're familiar with love songs on the order of He's Just My Bill, My Man, My Joe, My Max, and so on, where the girl who sings them tells you that although the man she loves is antisocial, alcoholic, physically repulsive, or just plain unsanitary, that nevertheless, she is his because he is hers, and like that. But as far as I know, there has never been a popular song from the analogous male point of view, that is to say, of a man who finds himself in love with, or in this case, married to, a girl who has nothing whatsoever to recommend her. I have attempted to fill this need. The song is called She's My Girl. Sharks gotta swim, and bats gotta fly. I gotta love one woman till I die. To Ed or Dick or Bob, she may be just a slob, but to me, well, she's my girl. In winter, the bedroom is one large ice cube, and she squeezes the toothpaste from the middle of the tube. Her hairs in the sink have driven me to drink, but she's my girl. She's my girl. She's my girl, and I love her. The girl that I lament for, the girl my money's spent for, the girl my back is bent for, the girl I owe the rent for, the girl I gave up Lent for, is the girl that heaven meant for me. So though for breakfast she makes coffee that tastes like shampoo, I come home for dinner and get peanut butter stew. Or if I'm in luck, it's broiled hockey puck. But oh well, what the hell, she's my girl, and I love her. Another familiar type of love song is the passionate or fiery variety, usually in tango tempo, in which the singer exhorts his partner to haunt him and taunt him and, if at all possible, to consume him with a kiss of fire. This particular illustration of this genre is called the masochism tango. I ache for the touch of your lips, dear, but much more for the touch of your whips, dear. You can raise welts like nobody else. Let our love be a flame, not an ember. Say it's me that you want to dismember. Blacken my eye, set fire to my tie as we dance to the masochism tango. At your command, before you here I stand. My heart is in my hand. Ugh. It's here that I must be. My heart entreats. Just hear those savage beats, and go put on your cleats and come and trample me. Your heart is hard as stone or mahogany. mahogany. That's why I'm in such exquisite agony. My soul is on fire, it's aflame with desire, which is why I perspire when we tango. You caught my nose in your left castanet, love. I can feel the pain yet, love, every time I hear drums. And I envy the rose that you held in your teeth, love, with the thorns underneath, love, sticking into your gums. Your eyes cast a spell that bewitches. The last time I needed 20 stitches to sew up the gash that you made with your lash as we danced to the masochism tango. Bash in my brain and make me scream with pain, then kick me once again and say we'll never part. I know too well I'm underneath your spell, so darling, if you smell something burning, it's my heart. Excuse me. Take your cigarette from its holder and burn your initials in my shoulder. Fracture my spine and swear that you're mine as we dance to the masochism tango. I am reminded at this point of a fellow I used to know whose name was Henry. Only to give you an idea of what an individualist he was, he spelled it H-E-N-3-R-Y. The 3 was silent, you see. Henry was financially independent, having inherited his father's tar and feather business, and was therefore able to devote his full time to such intellectual pursuits as writing. I particularly remember a heartwarming novel of his about a young necrophiliac who finally achieved his boyhood ambition by becoming coroner. The rest of you can look it up when you get home. In addition to writing, he indulged in a good deal of philosophizing. Like so many contemporary philosophers, he especially enjoyed giving helpful advice to people who were happier than he was. And one particular bit of advice which I recall, which is the reason I bring up this whole dreary story, is something he said once before they took him away to the Massachusetts State Home for the Bewildered. He said, "Life is like a sewer. What you get out of it depends on what you put into it." It's always seemed to me that this is precisely the sort of dynamic, positive thinking that we so desperately need today in these trying times of crisis and universal brouhaha. And so with this in mind, I have here a modern, positive, dynamic, uplifting song in the tradition of the great old revival hymns. This one might more accurately be termed a survival hymn. It goes like this. When you attend a funeral, it is sad to think that sooner or later those you love will do the same for you. And you may have thought it tragic, not to mention other adjectives, to think of all the weeping they will do. But don't you worry, no more ashes, no more sackcloth, and an armband made of black cloth will someday nevermore adorn a sleeve. For if the bomb that drops on you gets your friends and neighbors too, There'll be nobody left behind to grieve, and we will all go together when we go. What a comforting fact that is to know. Universal bereavement and inspiring achievement. Yes, we all will go together when we go. We will all go together when we go. All suffused with an incandescent glow. No one will have the endurance to collect on his insurance. Lloyds of London will be loaded when they go. Oh, we will all fry together when we fry. We'll be French fried potatoes by and by. There will be no more misery when the world is our rotisserie. Yes, we all will fry together when we fry. Down by the old maelstrom, there'll be a storm before the calm, and we will all bake together when we bake. There'll be nobody present at the wake, with complete participation in that grand incineration, nearly 3 billion hunks of well-done steak. Oh, we will all char together when we char, and let there be no moaning of the bar. Just sing out a Te Deum when you see that ICBM, and the party will be come as you are. Oh, we will all burn together when we burn. There'll be no need to stand and wait your turn. When it's time for the fallout and St. Peter calls us all out, we'll just drop our agendas and adjourn. You will all go directly to your respective Valhallas. Go directly, do not pass, go, do not collect $200. And we will all go together when we go. Every Hottentot and every Eskimo. When the air becomes Uranus, we will all go simultaneous. Yes, we all will go together when we all go together. Yes, we all will go together when we go.
You've been listening to An Evening Wasted with Tom Lehrer. So there we have it, folks. I hope it's not too prescient, but we'll let that ride. Thank you, folks. We look forward to your company next week. No, tomorrow, maybe, hopefully. And could be between 5 and 6. We'll see how we go. And then Sunday. So thanks again. Catch you soon. I'm vk3sl.